Hi, stars. We're just trying to get ourselves together here, right? It's time to talk about it, right? Kate Middleton back on the scene. Can you believe it? It was a long time since we saw her, at least for a while. We have a little bit of complexion on. That is the L'Oreal True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum in the shade 3 to 4 light medium. I, am somewhere in the middle of tones of makeup. So I'm always searching around to find things that work, but that don't look too crazy. Or once you get into like contouring, I did try to contour with this earlier, but you can see it's not so hugely contrasted from the color of my face. And I'm not really sure. Let's just try to see what this is all about, just to see, is this an actual, it says contour and highlight. I'm not sure what kind of highlight it can be looking like this. So we have, of course, our recycled yogurt dish of water. Get that wet, dab it off. I'm sorry, we've got to soldier down. This sponge is, it's just corroded. It's just falling apart, sad to say. But no worries, we have another sponge on deck, always, right? You always keep what? The British royal family taught us, a pair and a spare. You're never gonna go wrong just being prepared. And, I guess the royal family is learning that now, given how thin the herd has become and that they're not really in a position to kind of pick and choose, right? Anne got injured. That does actually show up a little bit, and is out of the hospital, but, certainly not back at work, and she's one of the hardest working members of the royal family. They had to actually tap into the bench, and they brought Princess Eugenie into the working royal circulation for when I guess it was it the Emperor of Japan, Hirohito, was on deck for an official visit, and so, Princess Beatrice got her time to shine and be accompanying King Charles on these official visits. It's got to be complicated because, as we know, King Charles wants his brother, Prince Andrew, out of Royal Lodge. But Prince Andrew's attitude is like, you got everything. I put my own money into fixing this roof. I'm going nowhere. Some people are suggesting that maybe they want to hand that very grand estate to Kate Middleton as part of we could be kind and call it a reward system, but we could also be realistic and call it a settlement, right? Whether that's a settlement of, how and where she will live as she moves toward becoming queen consort, or maybe if we're looking at a dissolution of marriage, it's part of what probably was a tough negotiation to make sure that she doesn't get, again, this is the Middleton perspective, shortchanged and having to stay in a small cottage as opposed to a grand estate, right? Adelaide Cottage on the Windsor estate is where we understand Kate had been living, certainly until whatever mysterious thing happened in the latter part of December 2023. But now, if things are stabilized, there have been a series of articles claiming that a back house, some sort of brick structure, was being renovated so that whatever long-term medical care Kate might require could happen on site. Suggestions are that Prince William has never lived there, that Kensington Palace Apartment 1 has remained his residence, and that he also favors the estate that his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, got for him on the heels of his marriage, that he requested Anne Hall, and that is also one of his favorite places to stay. Now, This is brightening without being insane. It doesn't look like a big streak of white, although it's somewhat satisfying to see really stark contrast. But, you know, again, these are holiday experiments. Just get it on, see what it does, see if it gives you the brightening that you're looking for, and if it doesn't, you are certainly able to make modifications. But do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's not clear that everything is back to a normal in William and Kate's relationship. Not 100%. We don't have the regularity of appearances. We don't have the kind of like assurance of a regular pattern, an expected pattern of public appearances and behavior. There's so much mysterious doings around just, you know, where do people live? Who's doing what? What's going on with the state of the marriage? Who's doing all different like public appearances? My favorite silicone sponge that I need to replace, of course. You know, it's giving me some brightness, but let's see if we can like blend it in so it doesn't look like geometric lines on my face. We had gone in earlier again with complexion and with some setting spray, just applying this brightening shade in places that might need a little lift. And then we're going to go in with a deeper shade of contour, right? I do enjoy getting into Korean skincare and also Korean makeup brands because they kind of play in the wheelhouse of tones that accommodate my complexion, and you know, whether it's a yellow undertone or neutrals that aren't super orange, it seems to be worth trying out as opposed to a lot of Western products that can read very pink. So, you know, yeah, a decently skin-like finish. But let's see if we can enhance our sculpt. We do have some random bronzers. This is a Prestige Cosmetics Laguna Beach powder bronzer. This is a Prestige Cosmetics Weightless Loose Finishing Powder in a deeper, probably a deeper shade than we need, and of course it has some sort of mystery seal on it. But do you get what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, there's been a lot of conflicting information and conflicting notes, and as much as the announcement was made, like, see, Kate Middleton back, it's really her, it's not computer generated, it's the real thing. There have been people online questioning that, but also there have been, you know, calls for, well, when are we going to see her next? What is going on? Why, if Kate is as well as she seemed to be at Tripping of the Color, then why isn't she back on the scene, right? This is 1, 2, 3, Smile, medium. This is the Creme Shop, a well-loved and well-abused, did I just break it? Bronzer, is it bronzer or contour palette? Oh boy. Anyway, we better get busy and use it since the packaging seems to be, you know, failing. But yeah, that's about the size of it. What's the proper brush? Here we have the Jaclyn Hill JH10, which is the perfect shape. It's the perfect shape and perfect for getting the perfect shade of contour on your cheeks. So let's go for the medium shade in this palette and see what's what. I can't believe this broke. I've been so gentle with it. Anyway, I made a mistake earlier by being very ambitious with the amount of red underpainting that I did. And I think that wasn't smart. it was too much, right? They say blend, contour up, hit the jawline, and also Asian makeup contour is to shrink the face. So it's almost like drawing a 3 on the side of the face in a more aggressive way than in Western makeup. You want a wash of contour. You don't necessarily need all the product to sit on the face. But yeah, is this the beginning of Kate exiting for good? There have been several articles that have said she's going to step away from public duties. Are we being eased into a more of a transition than we would have expected? Is this, you know, kind of useless speculation? I would be curious to know what you think, stars, because it certainly has been confusing. People have suggested that whatever conflict there was in that couple around or after Christmas during the holidays, it was about perhaps, you know, if William had asked for a more intense separation, if he asked for a divorce, that was absolutely not something that Kate or her family wanted. And so some people have suggested, was this absence and the explanations thereof, was it real or was it manufactured for drama, for sympathy, to build a mystery and have, you know, individual people as well as a bot army just defending Kate Middleton and her honor and correcting people on her name and, you know, really kind of sad fishing and saying, oh, you wouldn't question a sick woman, would you? You wouldn't actually suggest that maybe a set of abnormal cells is not quite the same thing as being diagnosed with an actual cancer, right? Like, you can't question it. You can't just raise legitimate questions. We've certainly seen enough people who said that word and it wasn't real, and they've been prosecuted for it. Don't say it doesn't happen. And don't say, after all those suspicious images that were debunked by the international press, don't say that that institution isn't capable of telling what the UK calls porkies, right? Things that aren't quite true. Now, why does this Korean brand's contour look just that much more cool and that much more realistic, right? For the nose sculpt, taking volume out of the tip of the nose, this nicely precise brush by, you know, the questionable Jaclyn Hill, right? We certainly question how she treated her friends, the people kind of put her on the makeup game, all the denials of who owned the brand, whether it was owned by her, invested in by her, and that turned out when the bankruptcy paperwork, you know, was filed, it was obvious those had been, you know, porkies. That's what they call lies in the UK. Just things that are made up to kind of boost the image and make people believe things that aren't true. It happens, you know, adults do what adults do, but it doesn't mean that we are, no matter how much we like the person or want them to do well or want, you know, them to be healthy, it doesn't mean that they're incapable of bending the truth to serve themselves, to serve whatever agenda, whether that's renewing their marriage vows or dissolving their marriage vows or being able to not work for the money, especially the public money that they live off of. I'm going to go slightly darker to cancel out, ooh, this double chin. Ooh, I was filming myself walking around, and there's nothing like a camera to tell you the truth. You're denying it. You're like, oh, everything's fine, you know. You can mew, you can change your posture, but you know, if you're a fan of Snickers bars and steak, tri-tip and burritos, you know, the best thing about the kind of work I do is that there's an endless amount of food, but that has its risks because it's too delicious. Too delicious, very nutritious. We're very fortunate, but you know, shout out to the people, you know, going through kidney dialysis, the people who, you know, overindulging can have lasting effects on your health. Now, we wish Kate Middleton all the, you know, health recovery in the world, but does that mean that the claim is true? Does that mean that there's nothing else going on? It could be preventative chemo, cancer, and a divorce, and a separation, or a renegotiation of terms of the marriage. I've been saying for months, why won't the royal family bail the Middletons out of whatever their financial trouble is, right? Certainly there are other children married into money, so maybe it's not just down to the royal family to do, but it certainly feels like you can't just, you know, for all the billions, you can't just spare a dime or two for the grandparents of your children, that your gratitude to that family doesn't extend to actually, you know, doing what they need, right? I'm sure that the grandparents step up and help with the kids. We've read articles. So many arguments and rows, and then Kate and the kids end up at Buckleberry or wherever the Middletons are staying now. There's been a suggestion that they're renting out their home and, you know, trying to generate, I don't know, cash for Wimbledon tickets. One person said maybe this is going to be their last chance to use the royal box at Wimbledon, right? It doesn't look like William or Pippa or, you know, other younger members of the royal family circle are using it. So maybe it's fine. Maybe it's like the last little perk that they can enjoy, because just tapping this in with a silicone sponge to take out harsh lines and learning to respect the geography of my face, right? Not trying to draw my contour like other people and other people's faces, but my jaw, double though it may be, you know, my contour, right? I keep gazing at all these like discussions of summer and winter and round face and what is the oval or square. I don't think I have a square face. I pretty much think I have a round face, but let me know if you think I'm wrong. I think it's round. I don't think it's a particularly long face. I think I got a little shortchanged in the chin department, but you know, it's not bad. And the tones in this, is it bronzer or contour palette? I like it very much. It's the medium 123 Smile palette. Is it contour or bronzer? It could be either, but I like it very much. And this is medium, right? Every brand, you have to kind of learn where you live in terms of the tones of their makeup. And I'm glad that the highlighting shade in this Maybelline Master Contour V-Shape Duo Stick is not a waste, right? It's enough of a highlight without being, I'm a little naughty. I do like a white, bright highlighter. So we have some complexion product on here, but we also have some powder, bronzer, blush left over from the other day. Let's see if we can underpaint that onto our cheeks. It's a dangerous product because it's very potent. Let's see. We can carefully put that on there and then flip the sponge over to tap it in. Right? It gives you so much color payoff. And it's not, you know, I know it's very fashionable to have like baby pink blush all over the place. And I don't know, I just feel like it sits on the skin in a way that doesn't necessarily look realistic. And I see, you know, especially people who are my complexion or darker, you know, kind of getting into the trend and then walking around in public with it, but it sits on the skin and it looks bluish. It looks bluish, bubblegum pink, and I know that's like the fashion and the Barbie of it all, but it doesn't look realistic. It doesn't look right. And I'm definitely guilty of having products like that, but you know, I'll make an effort to try them in the next few days so you can see what I'm talking about. It just looks suspicious, y'all. Very suspicious. As suspicious as a lot of those images that have been generated by Kensington Palace and their press office. Or is it the photographer, is it the royal photographer husband of Kate's personal assistant? You know, the blonde that appeared outside of the London clinic back in January, who has been sporting a Cartier watch like Kate's, or is it Kate's watch? Nobody knows. Similarly, Rose Hanbury was wearing a hat like Kate's, or was it Kate's hat? And I feel like there was another item, like a personal belonging. Is it the item that belonged to Kate, or is it an item similar to one that belonged to Kate? I can't be sure. But just tapping on some complexion product to marry those tones together, calm down that blush. But I really do not hate the finish of this complexion product. I can't say that I grab it when I'm headed to work. L'Oreal True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum, 1% hyaluronic acid. The finish in real life looks like makeup, but it doesn't look like chalk or something that's like completely unnatural on the skin. Do we need some sort of brightening concealer? Should we add a bit more of this blush just to use it up so we can wash our palette? This is where it becomes dangerous, right? Dangerous and splotchy. And it comes with its own applicator that I'm actually afraid to use. It's a nice deep color. It really is. But it's very it's very pigmented in a way that is dangerous. And my impulse to kind of like tap it all the way out and get it everywhere, I have to fight that urge, because then it just looks muddy and you lose all structure. It's a lot. I'm still learning to work with this product. I almost feel like I should probably mix it with powder or something to make it less saturated. I don't hate the color of it. I don't hate the tone, but there's still more left. Help. What? And then from here, we have this Revolution Makeup London Conceal and Define Satin Matte Powder Foundation, right? Is this an appropriate moment? Should we use this, or should we use something else to get this on the face? We certainly have other brushes. Let's try to use this small one, small brush. It's a Real Techniques 061. I forget the name of the collection, but let's see what we can do. Under the eye. A pressed powder, not a loose powder. just to calm down the borders. Not completely take it away, but just take it from looking like sunburn and thermonuclear war. And it's a pressed powder. It's a pressed powder foundation, yes, and it comes loose very easily, which is nice. It doesn't have that hard pan feel that sometimes you get with like products that are pressed. We're not pressed. You know, we're happy to see Kate Middleton back on the scene, but I feel like a lot of the suspicious notes remain. Like, okay, Wimbledon, your parents are out, so does that mean your health is fine? You know? Are you just watching Wimbledon on TV? Will we see you when the male champions are crowned and awarded? Is that what's going on? But we're certainly keeping a watch, because as healthy as old girl looked at Trooping the Color, it seemed like, you know, having the international public struggle over the mystery, it feels like it wasn't cool. That was not a cool move to make, in my humble opinion. It was unnecessary. I get it if there's some sort of divorce happening, or, you know, people are feeling like they want their way, but it really did feel like we needed to get somebody together to head on over there and look into things, because it didn't seem like what we were being told was true. So this is the deeper shade of bronzer, and then we have, what is this? I think this is an e.l.f. cream contour palette. It's a foundation palette. Wow. I feel like we had another bronzer palette. And certainly we have this tan shade of LA Colors powder, which is never, this is never the right shade for me in terms of powder. Let's see, this is another weightless loose finishing powder. Maybe we'll skip that and go for this tan shade, and then if it doesn't give any joy, we'll go for this deeper prestige bronzer, right? We're always looking for an opportunity to use the products that we have. Sometimes we grab them on the go and just hope that they have some value in our makeup routine. You can never be sure, and a lot of, you know, especially if you're getting like discount makeup, there really is no opportunity to try it. It's, you know, rolling the dice with $1. But I will tell you, I prefer, if I'm going to gamble on something, I'd rather gamble on makeup than, I have a lot of friends who really believe that casinos are profit possibilities, where I'm like, you realize the whole business is built. Now, I'm a former casino dealer. Like, you do realize the whole business is built on the fact that you will not win. But, you know, people insist, and it's fine if it's entertainment, if you're just, you know, spending your vacation trying to test out math or your system or whatever, but like, I wouldn't count on it, personally, me personally. So this terracotta shade, it's giving you blush, it's giving you contour, it's giving you dimension to the face, but it's not the pretty pink that, you know, we've been conditioned to like and look forward to. So this is just this tan shade of powder, and now we're gonna go in with this bronzer. I've been really loving some of the really simple looks that people are doing on their eyes, just running bronzer through the crease. And not every bronzer works as bronzer. And then it gives you a way to try the shade and see what it looks like without having to commit to getting it all over your face. You know, what's interesting, if you look at Kate Middleton and Meghan Markle, they have generally, unless it's evening events, very conservative eyeshadow that really just rings the eye, brings the lash line. It doesn't extend far up and far out. It doesn't do all the things that, you know, a lot of makeup gurus preach to us about, you know, halo eye and shimmer and liner that extends and inside and outside. Like, it just isn't part of their makeup practice. And it's actually refreshing to see what I would call normal women makeup and not all the excessive stuff that sometimes people really try to convince you that you have to do in order to look glamorous. Now, I've been digging in the crates. I have a dollar store collection of makeup, right? So this is LA Colors Nude Eyeshadow. And then this is something called Sculpt and Shape, which I'm not sure if this is supposed to be contour or if this is eyeshadow, but let's see if we can dabble in one of these shimmers. Looks like we've dabbled before, but what did I do with this brush? I'm not sure, but let's work with this little, maybe let's go for the gold. Go for the gold, right? The Olympics in France are going to be starting up. So exciting. I think Snoop Dogg is going to do at least part of the commentary, and he's always a lot of fun. It's July 4th, right? We live in an imperfect union. That is pretty. But that doesn't mean that there isn't room for improvement, right? That's why we're here, to advocate and make it better, right? Just like Meghan Markle advocated for the royal family to be and do better. They didn't want to do it, and they got what they got. And now all of that hate and racism has turned inward, right? You can't harbor that kind of negativity and think it's not going to affect your image, affect your insides, right? It's negativity, right? It says sculpt and shape, so maybe we can get it right between, someone said right between the brows. I would think right between the eyes. And then just the tiniest bit on the tip of the nose. Cupid's bow. It is very yellow, but you know, over a bronze eye, I don't mind it. Next time we'll experiment with the tones in this quad to see if it works as eyeshadow. But now let's get some lips on. Is Kate coming back, or is Kate running for the hills? Is this just her part of her process for getting gone? Has she had enough? Has she seen enough? Has she seen enough of that man's temper? Right? Anyone who has been in a relationship with a man knows they can get emotional, they can fly off the handle, they can never sincerely apologize. Yes, you're right. Is this soft brown, skinny brow pencil? It is, but I'm tired of these brick red, supposedly brown lip liners. I've had it. Every single one of them is red. Red rust. Red just, oh, you look like an idiot. They're so red. They don't read brown on me. I don't know if they read brown on anyone. Attempting the overline in the center. You know, you just want more definition. It doesn't need to be dark or extreme, but my goodness. You don't want it red. I look with interest at all the people saying, oh, you know, this $18 or $30 lip liner is the one. Is it? Is it? I don't know if it is. I would love it if it is, but I'm not convinced. This is the Mented Brow, you know, and then it's a bit of a paler pencil, but let's at least brush our eyebrows up. But, you know, people were inviting me out to run the streets today, and I said, you know what? I need to, like, turn my app to the landscape mode and do some makeup. That's what I need to do. I don't need to be in the streets, you know, drinking or doing anything like that. What I need to do is right here, right now. So someone said use a brush for your highlight shade in the center of your lips. I'm just going to use the end of my brush to take this Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit in the shade Nudie Patootie. What did we do before nude lipstick shades, I wonder? Right? I don't hate my actual lip color. We're trying to be fancy. I did watch a lot of, you know, Asian makeup that contours the lips and puts like a dark shade in the center in the shape of an M. They say that Angelina Jolie contours her lips. I don't know if I have an appetite for doing all that. I certainly experiment day by day. For me, it's enough just to kind of get some lip color on and then go about my business. I don't necessarily need the planet. And I don't necessarily want to gloss much more than in the center of my lips. Like, I see people with gloss all around the whole mouth, and it looks amazing, but it really looks like a lot. It looks like there's a lot going on, maybe too much for a daytime or an office look. Now this color, it's a little pale, and with the kind of gray brown of the brow pencil, it looks a little bit severe. Again, I think we've been conditioned to like the pretty pinks, to want that to be what we find on our lips. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with more mauve or taupe or gray shades, but here's where we are with our makeup. I definitely look better in the mirror than I do on the camera viewfinder, but I'm not unhappy. We're gonna get to the gym and see how this wears, but thank you so much for joining me for a little July 4th makeup, right? We are live, right? We're doing it. KATE-XIT. She's not at Wimbledon so far. Is she coming back? That is the question. So stay tuned. We're going to discuss whatever happens tomorrow. I feel like we're getting early pictures and video from the UK, straight from the scene, straight from the source, and we're going to check it out and see what's happening. If Kate is continuing to get out of royal public life, or if she's going to pop back out and hand someone their Wimbledon trophy. Anyway, next time. See you, stars. Bye.